Hello everyone, this is the real Black Otaku. Now for those of you who have seen my first video, you know that Elfen Lied is my all-time favorite anime. So I kind of figured that for my next video, I would do a review for Elfen Lied. Now this is actually my first review, so I'm kind of wanting to see how well this is going to turn out. Also, I actually did rewatch the show in order to give it a fair review. And while I would love to praise it wherever possible, I've just shed some light on the things it didn't do so well, so I'm doing here. Anyway, let's go ahead and get started talking about the story. The story begins as Lucy, a mutant known as Diclonius, escapes from a top-secret, high-security lab, tearing everything and everyone, most of the latter, to shreds using a set of 2-meter-long invisible hands called vectors. She's only stopped when she takes a blow to the head, knocking her unconscious, and sending her falling to the sea below. Several hours later, a college student named Kota and his cousin Yuka find Lucy washed up on shore. However, this is not the same cold-blooded killer we saw a moment ago. You see, the blow to the head gave her a split personality. The one we see now having the personality similar to that of a 2-year-old and is only able to say one word. New. We then follow Kota and Yuka as they try to figure out who this New is and where she came from. But unknown to them, those in charge of the lab she just escaped from do all in their power in order to recapture Lucy before the bloodshed that Diclonius, like her, are infamous for. At first glance, it doesn't seem like anything special, but I thought it was very well done. The show itself was rather short, being only 13 episodes, but with that, there's no filler, and each episode led very fluidly into the next. There were, however, a couple of minor yet noticeable plot conveniences, and a couple of times where I questioned the logic. I found the ending to be something special. Elfen Lied had one of those read the manga endings, which usually piss me off beyond belief, but I liked how Elfen Lied ended. While there were some plot holes left unfilled at the end, but just about all the characters had a good level of closure, and it had an ending that made you think. It was open for interpretation, which is usually something I like to see. Overall, I give this story for Elfen Lied an 8.5 out of 10. Let's move on to the characters, and what better place to start than the main heroine herself, Lucy. I honestly find it weird how I refer to both Lucy and Yu as if they were separate individuals, but yet I see them both as one and the same. On the outside, Lucy looks like this cold-blooded murderer who kills people indiscriminately in the most horrific fashions possible, but she's got a tragic past to her. And she has dealt with so much abuse over her life because she looked different, but is honestly just looking for acceptance in the world. On the other side of the coin, New is so freaking adorable. I just want to take her home, and oh god, I'm Changing Terena, aren't I? Despite her innocent and infantile personality, she always seems to understand the emotions in any given situation more than you'd expect. There isn't much else I can say about her without giving away spoilers, but the depth that Lucy has makes her my favorite character in the show and one of my favorite characters in anime. Next is our male lead, Kota, who is more or less your generic main character, but he has more to him than you'd expect. You see, 7 years ago, his father and sister were both killed in a car accident, and he spent years in a psychological ward dealing with PTSD, and is only discharged a little bit before the story begins. Because of those experiences, he doesn't want any other characters to deal with sorrow like he has. I would love to get into characters like Yuka, Nana, Mayu, and Kurama, but once again, spoilers. But while I was only able and willing to talk about Lucy and Kota, the character cast all around was very good, and for the most part was very well developed. Allowing me to give it a 9 out of 10 for characters. In regard to the animation, it looks rather decent for its time. I mean, the character designs are good, and the backgrounds are beautifully detailed. However, the blood looks really flat, and the CGI effects used for the vectors weren't that good either. I don't think I can talk about Elfen Lied without addressing the gore and the fan service. Elfen Lied is one of the bloodiest anime I have seen, which actually fits the kind of show it is rather well. Now, as bloody as it is, the majority of it is in that first half of that first episode, so if you're able to get past that without any real issues, the rest of it shouldn't be an issue. Now, all other shows that constantly have fan service on screens, always in your face, Elfen Lied doesn't have nearly that much, but when it does come up, it's a lot more exposing than the most ecchi anime are. But the way I see it, the nudity in Elfen Lied is like the nudity scene in some classical artwork. But then again, Elfen Lied was produced by ARMS, who are known for anime like Ikitosen and Queen's Blade and some actual hentai. And honestly, looking back, there are a couple of scenes I can think of off the top of my head that seem to have the fan service just to have the fan service, but I digress. By the way, I give Elfen Lied a rather decent 7.5 out of 10 for animation. The soundtrack for Elfen Lied mostly consists of dark and eerie sounding pieces with some calm and soothing songs thrown in. While the music suits the scenes it's played in very well, I honestly didn't notice it that much for my first 3 viewings. That is, except for one group of songs. The soundtrack sports several versions of the opening song Lilium, and is used fairly often. Some might see this as annoying, but I didn't mind it since Lilium is a beautiful piece to listen to. Unfortunately, the soundtrack is the weakest part of the show in my opinion, but I'd still give it a 7 out of 10. Now, I have heard of people who watch Elfen Lied just for the blood and the gore and the decapitation, and those people really irritate me. They're missing the whole point of the show. To me, Elfen Lied is a story of the characters' torments and their journey to acceptance and or recovery. It also shows just how we, as human beings, can be so cruel to one another, yet there are still some who show such genuine love for others. Elfen Lied holds a special place in my heart, and hopefully always will be. And it deserves nothing less than a 10 out of 10 for enjoyment. Now, taking into account the scores I gave Elfen Lied for story, characters, animation, and sound, Elfen Lied gets a very solid 8.4 out of 10. Now, while I'd more than love to recommend everyone to watch it, I honestly can't with a good conscience. If you're mature enough for something like this, go ahead and give it a shot. But you have been warned. Now, that was my review for Elfen Lied. Go ahead and give me some of your thoughts about the show, some of the points I talked about, because I want to know. I want to know your guys' opinion on it. So again, don't forget to like and subscribe. Don't forget to check out my blogging channel, I Listen to Trolling, which you should be able to click right out here, or there's going to be a link in the description, but let's go and check that out. That's where I'll post vlogs for updates on this channel and anything else that needs to be brought up that I can't do so here. Anyway, this is the Real Black Otaku signing out. See ya.